So, medicine, the one thing modern society can't live without, is what we immediately take when we catch a cold, or even when we get a headache to ease the pain. Medicine are chemicals or compounds that are used to ease symptoms or even to help in the diagnosis of certain illnesses. But have you ever wondered how medicine is even made? Today I want to enlighten you on the process of drug development in 3 steps. The first step is discovery and development. Second is preclinical research, and finally third is clinical research. The first step of the process is discovery and development. This is when research for a new drug begins in the laboratory. Researchers discover new drugs through target identification, which is choosing a biomedical mechanism involved in the disease, and then they introduce drug candidates that are tested for the interaction with the target, up to thousands, you can see, molecular compounds. Within each drug candidate are put through a screening process, and once it is confirmed that there's interaction with the target, then researchers check for activity versus the disease to check whether the compounds are a promising compound for development. And so when a compound is finally chosen for development, researchers conduct experiments to check the product's characterization. So basically like the size, shape, the strengths and weaknesses, preferred conditions for maintaining function, and like basically just experiments to see how the product works. The second step is preclinical research, and it's basically to make sure that the product is safe before testing it on humans. And so they must find the toxicity of the product to see like whether it could cause any serious harm. And so there are 2 types of preclinical research. The first one is called in vitro, which is within the glass. This procedure performed outside of a living organism and is used to detect and identify microorganisms within the human body. And the second one is in vivo, which means within the living, and is an experiment used on a whole and living organism, and is referred to as like a form of like animal studies. It is used to gain insight on the nature of medicine and disease. So in vivo and in vitro are often used together in studies because it gives off like a better suited form to like observe to observe the effects of the experiment on a living subject. And finally, the third step in the drug development is preclinical research. And it is a study of performed on people, and it is done in 3 steps. The first step is designed to find a safe dose of the product and how it works on the body. The second step studies how the product works towards the targeted disease, and if the product is found to be safe. And finally, the third step compares the new product to the current product to see which one is better. And I have a video to show the process of the 3 stages in clinical research.
Clinical trials are research studies that involve people. Most clinical trials to test new cancer treatments are done in a series of steps called phases. If a new treatment is successful in one phase, it moves to the next phase. Let's take a look at the 3 main phases of clinical trials. Phase 1 trials are small, enrolling less than 30 patients. Phase 1 trials are designed to find a safe dose of the new treatment, determine how the treatment should be given, and learn how it affects the body. If a safe dose is found, the new treatment goes to phase 2 testing. More patients are enrolled, usually 100 or less. Phase 2 trials study how the treatment affects the body and how the treatment works for a certain type of cancer. If a new treatment is found to be safe and to have some benefit, it goes to phase 3. This is when many participants are needed, usually more than 100 and sometimes thousands. Phase 3 trials compare the new treatment with the current treatment to see which one is better.
And so, however, in order to begin the clinical trials, the drug developers have to submit an investigation new drug application, or for short, IND, to the FDA. And the process is just to make sure that the clinical trials are safe for any of the volunteers who participate in the clinical trials. And this process in clinical trials continues until the developer decides to end the clinical trials or file for a marketing application with the FDA. And so in conclusion, medicine is crucial for maintaining good health. Without it, we would be living in a world full of disease and death. It is one thing that modern society can't live without. Thanks to discovery and development, preclinical research and clinical research, it developed medicine. Thank you.
What was the time?
6:22.
One thing is
So Juan, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty well done. Pretty well presented. Presentation was good. Her speaking was well. The visual aids were pretty good and were on point. The only thing I had a bit of trouble with was keeping up with the terms, some medical terms, But other than that, they were all well.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit last week when I spoke with you about the introduction, the attention device. I think you need something a little bit more dynamic, but the idea there I think is a good one, but the way it plays out isn't quite as strong as it could be. But you do have a very clear statement of what your purpose is, and the visual gives us a preview of what the structure is going to be, and in fact it remains in the background, so it always helps us make a transition to the next point when you're getting to that next point. Because it's already labeled for us there. It's like we've got a timeline that we can follow along with. I didn't hear a lot of source citation in the presentation. I'm sure that your information came from someplace and it ought to be attributed in the speech, and you're not doing that as consistently as you need to. The explanations are pretty good. I think we could use a few more examples, particular examples, stories to make it interesting. Even a hypothetical one once in a while would be helpful so that it doesn't quite feel as dry as it does as a presentation, and it would create a little bit more interest in the material. It's well organized, like I said. You have the preview material there. There's a natural division that occurs because it's kind of in a time sequence, so we've got a chronological structure that we're following, and that's fine. The visual materials, like I said, I think the preview gets you a lot because you've got that in the background and it helps organize things. The video, when you jump into it, I think the video is doing things that you probably should have been doing. In essence, it's like it's taking over at that point, doing the things that you ought to be doing. And I appreciate, maybe it's you're not going to be able to move around all the people and draw all the pictures, that kind of thing. But in essence, it feels a little bit like I'm going to step out for a moment and we're going to have special guest lecturer present at this moment. And I think that disconnects you a little bit from what the relationship that you want to have with the audience while you're speaking to them. Not that the information wasn't useful, it was useful and it was explained pretty well in the video. So the material, the content in it is I think very helpful. I just thought the way it's presented in the video, that should have been you, you know, doing all of those things. And so it felt a little bit odd that you stepped out of your role as speaker for a few seconds. You do a pretty good job sometimes looking up and talking to us, and even though you are reading a lot, it doesn't come across quite as much as reading because you sound like you're more familiar with the words that you're presenting. You do attempt to look up at us on occasion and engage us. It's not all about what's on the notes in front of you. And so that does help. I do think that though you still want to be striving toward reducing your dependence on the amount of notes that you have, and again, talking to us a little bit more in the presentation. All right, thank you.